So, we have, in like the last assignment, we were talking about just the difference between the flex budget and the actuals. And that gave us the spending or revenue variances. And so I was just saying, this is what we thought we would pay and this is what we actually paid. So this is the difference between the two. Yes.
Okay, so on the last question of that homework, it gave you two options. It gave you 1,800 hours or 2,000 hours. So I was wondering, it said that the flex, or the estimated was 1,800 and the actual was 2,000, but then it also gave you the numbers, like the actual numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So why did we use the 2,000 as opposed to the 1,800?
Because wasn't the 1,800 what you like budgeted, and for flex you have to use more like what is it, like what you kind of actually?
So
like
flex is
produce?
always you do what you actually got?
Yeah, the flex budget is always gonna be the actual,
Okay.
like,
And then-
hours
But
So then-
times
adjusted.
the variable
Yeah.
plus the fixed.
Yeah, okay. So that's
And then-
always the flex budget.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why did it tell us what the estimated budget was? Just to confuse me?
Just to give you that number.
But we didn't do anything
Yeah.
with it.
There was one of the questions where you did the planning
That was
budget,
the beginning.
so then you
yeah.
would need it,
Uh-huh.
but otherwise you wouldn't normally need it.
Okay, just checking.
It's just kinda there to show.
And you know how it was given all the actual numbers, like the total for each like direct materials, direct labor and stuff like that. If that's given, that's what you use for actuals, but is it ever going to be given kind of in the form of what you would see the flex budget, where you would have like the hours and then you would have all your
No.
variable? No?
No,
Pretty
they're always
much,
gonna give you
like
the
total?
actuals
Okay,
for that section.
okay.
So now we figured out the spending and revenue variances for those. Now we're gonna break the spending and revenue variances up. Well, just the spending variances. And so now, it's no longer just the spending variance, we're also gonna have a rate or price variance. And then a quantity or efficiency variance. And so the rate price variance is gonna tell us if we paid more or less than what we should have. And the quantity efficiency variance is gonna say whether we used more materials or less materials or more hours or less hours than what we should have.
Yeah, we learned this in class today, but I don't understand.
And
Did
so,
you guys use the pitchfork example?
Mhm.
Okay,
and so that's where the pitchfork comes in.
that's what we did.
Did you have it this morning? Do you have Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
Yeah,
What time?
from 11:30 to 12:30.
So in you guys' pitchfork, do you remember if actuals were on the left or on the right?
Right.
On the right, okay. So on the right, we're gonna have our actual quantity times our actual price. And then in the middle, we're gonna have our actual quantity times standard price. And over here, we're gonna have standard quantity times standard price. And that's where the whole pitchfork comes in. And then this is gonna be our
Quantity and efficiency.
quantity and efficiency variance. And this is gonna be the rate price variance.
And then your total is like right
And
there.
then the total would be like down here, that's supposed to be a box. And that's gonna be your spending variance, and that's what we already talked about in the last section.
Okay.
And so the reason you're doing this is because you can see that the difference between this formula and this formula is gonna be the quantity.
Mhm.
And so you're trying to figure out the difference in quantity to find your quantity variance. And then over here, the two differences between these two formulas are the standard price and the actual price. So that's gonna help you find the price variance.
Can we do an example?
Okay.
The one.
Let's do the one from the homework.
Yeah.
Do you have different numbers? Probably.
Yeah, but everything else should be the same.
Yeah, and they'll be close.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we just do this together? Is that okay?
Mhm.
Okay, so it says manufactures a number of customer items for general household use. One of the products is a chopping board. During recent months, the company has manufactured 3,200 chopping boards. So 3,200 chopping boards. I don't know what that is yet, but just
That's
put that
fair.
up there. And then it uses 212 board feet hardwood. So the
How many?
hardwood,
I would think it'd be,
2,112. Sorry, I said that wrong.
I was like, wow, I have like 3,000, you said 200, way off.
So the hardwood cost is the actual cost, no? So that's 13,939. So that's the actual cost over there. No?
That,
Actual quantity, actual price, yep.
13,939. Sorry.
so, it says that the standards for one chopping board are 0.68, at least in my example.
Yeah,
Okay, so
point.
these are the standards.
Okay, so that mine's 0.6. And the cost is $7 per board. Whoa.
So,
Okay, so we did this in
$7
class
per board or $7 per feet?
per board foot, so it's per foot.
It's the same thing. Okay, so standard quantity times standard price. So wouldn't it be 3,200 times 7?
Standard quantity.
So we're dealing with direct materials on this one. So we're going to do, the standard quantity is how many feet we're gonna
And
use.
it's at 0.6, right?
Mhm.
And then your standard price is the $7?
Mhm.
Wait, yeah.
So the $7 will be the standard price,
Uh-huh.
and then the 0.6 times the 3,200 is our standard quantity.
Okay.
Okay, I was close. Got it.
Because
So-
according to our standards, that's gonna be how many feet we need to make our actual.
Okay,
So when it says according, like this is the first question. According to the standards, what cost for wood should have been incurred to make, I have 3,900 chopping boards. So I would take my 3,900 times, I have $8 per foot. So, I'm sorry, hang on, back up. I would take the 3,900, which is how many I'm going to make, and I have 0.68, which is the standard. So I would take that, so 3,900 times 0.68, and then I would take that number times my cost per foot, right?
Mhm.
So that,
so it's 3,200 times 0.6 times 7?
Mhm.
Got it.
and that's the standard cost.
That's what it should have cost you to buy the wood to make these
Okay,
boards.
yeah, that makes sense. And then,
So now we go to the actual quantity.
Well, the actual cost was 13,939, right? So it's 13,939. So that equals that minus that, which is the spending variance, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
the
so-
difference between these two would be the spending variance.
So
Okay,
if
so-
the actual quantity is more than the standard quantity, that would be unfavorable.
wait, hang on, cause since I have different numbers here, I'm just trying to figure out, oh, okay, so the hardwood cost, that's my actual, right there.
Yep.
So that 22,823 minus, here was my standard cost, so that's my standard variance, right?
Correct.
So since it actually cost me more, it's unfavorable?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, okay, this is favorable.
Okay, now we have to do the second part because I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
The materials.
So that's basically the same thing we did in the last chapter, in the last section. So now-
Okay, let me just show you something. So I drew on my face for it, and my mom just said, "Traitor, don't forget your German roots." Okay, sorry, okay, keep going.
So now, we have to figure out this middle section in order to get these two variances.
Oh, okay,
So how do we find this middle section? What's our
So-
actual quantity?
So we made, wait, are we
Here's the
using the
company
board
manufactured.
foot, the board feet of hardwood?
Mm-hmm.
So that one,
Yeah, so.
the 200, that one?
mhm.
So
Well,
So
that,
what was your actual feet that you used?
Okay, so during a recent month, manufactured using, okay,
Mhm.
so it's just gonna put that here,
Yeah, so
so,
that's gonna be your actual quantity,
uh-huh,
and in this case, it's the 212,
So
112. And then we're gonna
What's
times
that?
that by our standard price.
that's
times,
7.
Mm-hmm. 7. And then what is?
so we don't need to use the standards per foot
Nope,
of.
that
okay.
just helped us find the standard quantity.
Oh, that's right, so I take.
Because that's already in feet, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, so I take my, okay, that times my price, so mine was 8.
Yep.